In October 2025, the European Central Bank quietly finished a 2-year preparation phase for a thing called the digital euro. The lawmakers are expected to vote on the legal framework in 2026. Pilots are slated for 2027, and buried in the design is one detail they would prefer you skim right past: a holding limit. The ECB has floated €3,000 per person, a hard cap on how much of this new money you are allowed to keep. Let that sit. Money, with a ceiling, on you. They will sell it to you with the softest words they own: cheap payments, secure payments, modern, instant, free. And to be fair, the rails probably will be fast. But notice the sleight of hand. Nobody asked for a holding cap to make payments faster. A cap does not speed anything up. A cap has exactly one function. It limits how much of this money any single person is allowed to hold at once. That is not a payments feature. That is a control feature wearing a payments costume. Now stack the word programmable on top of the cap, because that is the real story. A digital euro is software, and money that is software can carry rules. It can be told where it is allowed to go, what it is allowed to buy, and when it is allowed to expire. Today, the only rule they are talking about out loud is a €3,000 limit. But once the rails exist, adding a new rule is not a construction project. It is a software update. The hard part, the part they are doing now, is getting you onto the rails at all. And here is the cap, made real: €3,000. For a lot of households in Europe, that is barely a month. It is rent. It is one car repair away from gone. A central bank is proposing that the official digital cash of an entire continent comes with a limit lower than what many families need just to feel safe. They say the cap protects the banking system. Maybe. But notice who it protects, and notice who it fences in. The system gets the safety, you get the ceiling. The ECB swears it can never identify who you are or what you buy. I want to believe that, I really do. But the design tells a different story. The onboarding is identity linked. The wallets are intermediated, meaning a middleman sits between you and your money. An identity-linked digital currency centralizes the most sensitive thing you have, not just your balance, your behavior. Every transaction tied to a name in one place. Even if they never look, the file exists. And a file that exists is a file that can be read by whoever runs the building next. And do not think this stays in Europe. The Eurozone is big enough and early enough that its design choices become everyone's defaults. Intermediated wallets, identity-linked onboarding, holding limits. These are not just European rules. They are the rough draft of the global rulebook for how state-issued digital money works. Whatever ceiling Europe accepts quietly, the rest of the world's central banks get to point at and say, "See, they did it, and nobody rioted." You are not just watching a currency. You are watching a precedent being set in your name. Here is the part I keep circling back to. A live digital euro is still 2 to 3 years away, even if they approve it in 2026. That window is not a reason to relax. It is the only leverage you will ever have. The rules are being drafted right now, while almost nobody is watching, in language built to bore you into not reading it. The cap is small today because they need you comfortable with the idea of a cap at all. Comfort is the entire project. Once you accept a ceiling on your own money, the exact number stops being yours to decide. So when the digital euro arrives wrapped in a language of convenience, remember what convenience cost: a middleman between you and your cash, a name attached to every purchase, and a number set by someone else telling you how much of your own money you are permitted to hold. Cheap payments are a fine thing, but you do not need a holding cap to send money fast. You only need a holding cap if the goal was never speed. The goal was the leash, and a leash is only a leash if you agree to wear it. If this got under your skin, that is the point. Money you actually own has no holding cap and no off switch. That is the ownership stuff in practice. MXEL at mxl.com. Stay loud.